respected dignitaries, distinguished invitees, ladies and gentlemen.
अपना हेरिटेज के बारे में बोलना, अपना इतिहास के बारे में बोलना, ये अपना हेरिटेज के बारे में बोलना, अपना
ज्ञान ज्ञान
It's an honor to stand before such a distinguished gathering today to speak about the significance of the VIDWAT PARJSHAD. This reverse platform has long stood as a beacon of the intellectual and the cultural enlightenment, fostering the exchange of knowledge and the celebration of the wisdom. The word VIDWAT itself, derived from the Sanskrit word for knowledge, and the word PARJSHAD refers to an assembly or the council. Thus, a VIDWAT PARJSHAD is not just an event, it's a gathering of the scholars, thinkers, and intellectuals dedicated to the pursuits of learning, explorations, and disseminations of the knowledge across various fields. Historically, VIDWAT PARJSHAD has played a significant role in nurturing the scholar dialogues, especially in the traditional Indian systems of learning. This council has been placed where ancient texts and ideas were discussed, debated, and preserved for the future generations. The scholars from various disciplines, whether in philosophy, arts, literature, or science, have come together to share insights and enrich the mind of the community. In today's world, the importance of such a council cannot be overstated. In an era dominated by the technology and the rapid changes, the VIDWAT PARJSHAD stands as a reminder of the value of the traditional knowledge systems and the timeless quest for wisdom. It encourages us to not only seek knowledge, but also understand the deeper essence of life, ethics, and society. Through forms such as VIDWAT PARJSHAD, we are not able to bridge the gap between the ancient wisdoms and contemporary thoughts. It provides a platform for rejuvenating age-old teachings, while also fostering new ideas that align with the needs and the aspirations of today's world. As we come together in the spirit of learning, let us remember that the true purpose of such gathering is not just the acquisition of knowledge, but the ability to apply that knowledge in a way that benefits the society at large. The essence of VIDWAT PARJSHAD is not just the intellectual pursuits, but also the social responsibilities, cultural preservation, and mutual respect for the diverse opinions. In conclusion, let us take this opportunity to learn, to share, and to grow. Let us ensure that the flame of the knowledge, kindly by the platform like the VIDWAT PARJSHAD, continue to illuminate the path for generations to come. May this gathering inspire all of us to seek wisdom not just through books, but through the experience, reflections, and dialogues. Thank you.
जो ये आयोजन किया है उसमें मंचासीन हमारे मुख्य अतिथि चीफ गेस्ट कौनथोप मिश्रा जी, शिक्षा विकास समिति मणिपुर के अध्यक्ष और विद्वत परिषद के कन्वीनर, जॉइंट सेक्रेटरी, बाकी शिक्षा विकास समिति मणिपुर के अलग अलग दायित्व में सभी विद्युत परिषद से साथ जुड़े हुए और शिक्षा विकास समिति मणिपुर के साथ बहुत पुराने संबंध और शिक्षा विकास समिति को सब जितने मदद कर रहे हैं सभी माता बहनें और वे सभी विद्युत जनों को मैं अभिनंदन करता हूँ। और आज का जो विषय है इंडियन नॉलेज सिस्टम, तो इंडियन नॉलेज सिस्टम इसके बारे में सभी इंटरैक्टिव सेशन इस प्रकार बताया गया है। इसलिए बाकी सभी लोग भी इसके ऊपर मैंने ये केवल वक्ता की ओर से मंच की ओर से केवल बनने वाला नहीं है, इंटरेक्शन होने की आवश्यक है, इस प्रकार ही रखा है। तो इसके ऊपर इंटरेक्शन होने की क्या आवश्यक है? व्हाट इज इंडियन नॉलेज सिस्टम? नेशनल एजुकेशन पॉलिसी 2020 ये जब बना है, हम जानते हैं सब लोग, मैंने टिल 1947 from 1947 till before 2020 अभी भी देश में जो शिक्षा व्यवस्था चल रहा है, इस शिक्षा व्यवस्था इट इज फुल्ली यूरोप सेंट्रिक एजुकेशन। तो ये जो यूरोप सेंट्रिक एजुकेशन है, एजुकेशन चल रहा था, उसको ही हम फॉलो कर रहे हैं। कल मैं विषय के माध्यम से, कल के कार्यक्रम के माध्यम से कुछ बता रहा था, Why it is a Eurocentric education? Bloom's, Harvard, kindergarten, Montessori, so many methodologies. We have adopted and we have studied and we have become in our profession. अरे हम वही विषय कहीं भी हम जाएंगे, किसी में भी आप पूछेंगे व्हाट इज द हिस्ट्री ऑफ एजुकेशन, व्हाट इज द हिस्ट्री ऑफ मैथमेटिक्स, व्हाट इज द हिस्ट्री ऑफ साइंस, व्हाट इज द हिस्ट्री ऑफ सोशल साइंस, सब में आप अगर कुछ हिस्ट्री को जाएंगे तो हिस्ट्री में एक बार यूरोप सेंट्रिक कोटेशन मिलेगा, बड़े बड़े लोगों से कोटेशन मिलेगा, वहाँ से कोटेशन मिलेगा। व्हाट इज आवर ट्रेनिंग सिस्टम, व्हाट इज आवर गुरुकुल सिस्टम, व्हाट इज आवर एजुकेशन सिस्टम, इसके बारे में, देश के बारे में विचार करना, देश के बारे में बोलना एक अपराध जैसा, ऐसा देश में एक माहौल बना है। मैंने हमको इसके ऊपर विचार करना एक अपराध, इंडियन नॉलेज सिस्टम के ऊपर, इंडियन सिस्टम के ऊपर ये विचार करना, ये हमको बहुत ही एक बार बैकवर्ड हमको ऐसा लगता है। इस प्रकार सिचुएशन में आज लाकर हमारे एजुकेशन सिस्टम, हमारे जो इंटेलेक्चुअल्स को आज लाकर यहाँ तक पहुँचाया है। बट एक्चुअली व्हाट इज आवर हिस्ट्री बिफोर 5,000, बिफोर 10,000, बिफोर 50,000? ऐसा कोई देश नहीं है पूरा वर्ल्ड में ऐसा कोई देश नहीं है जिस देश में माने इस प्रकार ज्ञान का विषय के बारे में बताया गया है, मनुष्य के बारे में बताया गया है कि अपना जीव जगत और जगदीश्वर, इसको हमें ठीक से समझना चाहिए। जीव जगत और जगदीश्वर के बारे में कहा कुछ उसको कुछ एक्सप्लेन किया है, तो वो वेद ने किया है, उपनिषद ने किया है, रामायण ने किया है, महाभारत ने किया है, गीता किया है। इसको हम अवॉइड कर नहीं सकते। मैंने जर्मन गवर्नमेंट अडॉप्टेड गीता, पर भारत ने अडॉप्टेड टिल नाउ। तो उसके ऊपर बहस करते रहे, वाई इस प्रकार मैंने बहस कौन कर रहे हैं? ये बहस कर रहे हैं इंटेलेक्चुअल्स। एंड आफ्टर एनी पीरियड बिफोर एमसीएम, जस्ट कोरोना पीरियड में बिल्कुल नहीं, पूरे देश भर में हम करते थे। तो इस प्रकार इस सब में करने के बाद एक विषय उसमें से निकल कर आया। आप लैंग्वेज में आप देखेंगे, सोशल साइंस में देखेंगे, मैथमेटिक्स में देखेंगे, बॉटनी में देखेंगे, जूलॉजी में देखेंगे, फिजिक्स में देखेंगे, केमिस्ट्री में देखेंगे, संस्कृत में देखेंगे और रीजनल लैंग्वेजेस, जिसको एनसीईआरटी अभी 22 भारतीय भाषा को मान्यता दिया है। 22 भारतीय भाषा में अभी काम चल रहा है। 22 भारतीय भाषा में अभी एनसीईआरटी का किताब भी निकलने वाला है। तो इस प्रकार ये सब होने के बाद सब माने इस प्रकार एजुकेशनिस्ट माने अच्छे विद्वान देश के सबको बुलाकर जो सेमिनार किया, उसका निष्कर्ष निकला, इसका मूल कहीं ना कहीं एक संस्कृत का शब्द में है, संस्कृत का श्लोक में है, संस्कृत का एक वाक्य में है। केमिस्ट्री के बारे में हो कि फिजिक्स के बारे में हो कि जूलॉजी, बॉटनी, सोशल साइंस, लैंग्वेज, सब में इसमें है। तो ये मूल जाकर संस्कृत में जा रहा है। मैंने सभी का है, मैंने डायरेक्ट फ्रॉम संस्कृत, ये हमको तो मानना पड़ेगा। बट मैंने टुडेज एजुकेशन, टुडेज सिस्टम, हिस्ट्री को आप जाएंगे तो यूरोप में जाकर निकलेगा, कहीं ग्रीक में जाकर निकलेगा, तो इस प्रकार वो वहां जाकर निकलेगा। हमारा कुछ वैल्यू नहीं। रामायण महाभारत ऐसा ही हो गया। रामायण महाभारत के युद्ध के समय जो साइंस है, जो वैल्यूज है, और उसमें जो वाक्य बोला गया है, गीता जो मैंने उपदेश दिया है, इसमें कुछ वैल्यूज नहीं है। हमारा मैथमेटिक्स में, हमारा हिस्ट्री को जाएंगे तो मैथमेटिक्स में आर्यभट्ट का वैल्यू ही नहीं है, स्वामी भारती कृष्ण तीर्थ का वैल्यू नहीं है। स्वामी भारती कृष्ण तीर्थ जो वैदिक मैथमेटिक्स है, जगन्नाथपुरी का शंकराचार्य स्वामी भारती कृष्ण तीर्थ जो वैदिक मैथमेटिक्स का, अभी भी जो स्वामी निष्ठानंद सरस्वती है, अभी भी वो मैथमेटिक्स का किताब अभी भी वो रचना कर रहे हैं। कहाँ से? वेद से, फ्रॉम वेदस, फ्रॉम उपनिषदस। तो ये वो मैंने क्या है, दुनिया को जीरो दिया कौन? दैट इज आवर नॉलेज सिस्टम, दैट इज आवर नॉलेज। एक से दूसरों को, एक से अनेकों के पास ये विषय पहुंचे। ये सेमिनार जो आयोजन किया है बहुत ही अच्छा महत्व उद्देश्य है। इस उद्देश्य को लेकर, इस विषय को लेकर सभी के पास पहुंचे, यही मेरा शुभकामना। नमस्कार, धन्यवाद।
All the intellectual persons invited on this hall for interactive session of one-day program on the knowledge system. It is my great privilege of giving me the opportunity of interacting such kind of very wonderful people from different position, and experience. Indeed, it is a very humble approach for me because I don't know much about the Indian knowledge system, but as a teacher who have been serving for the last 30 years in teachers training colleges in such kind of a very turbulent situation, I feel much that the system of the knowledge that has been associating with us has been delusion that is deteriorating, and because of that our society has been fallen down instead of pushing upwards. And in such kind of a very tough situation, in the year 2020, National Education Policy 2020 were implemented on 29 July by the Cabinet President of the Parliament. And NEP 2020 itself is a very eye-opening and giving the directions of improving education in the Indian soil in different directions by leaving all that kind of orthodox education we have had for the last many centuries. In front of me, we have already a very illuminating ideas from Sri Maranaya Sri Govinda Chandra Mahanta, a very rich and a resourceful person in this area, and even we cannot come very close to the knowledge domain of Mahantaji, but by the position and situation, let me speak something from the side of the teachers, educator, in my perspective. If anything goes wrong, I believe the dignitaries and guys may have the opportunity of forgiving me. For the last many centuries, we have already learned the knowledge system in India. We had a civilization that were flourished in India before the Western civilization even started. For example, the story of the Mohenjo-daro, Harappa, then many of the Nalanda University and many of the other universities as well. But after the invasion of the Mughals, the invasion of the Muslims, and later on it were colonized by the British Empire, the whole system of Indian value system and ethos were broken down and fragmented and completely polarized by the system of value they brought in the Indian soil, which completely changed the originality and the sense of nationalism of the Indian peoples for the last many centuries. And now we are completely following the value system of the Western mostly right now. For example, the theory in mathematics, science, psychology, medical sciences, and the social science as well, and even it has been heavily influenced by the Western literature, forgetting about the Indian originality. Itself is a very panic situation that if it continues for such a long decades after ours, the Indian civilization will be forgotten soon. But this NEP 2020 has given the directions how to begin with from the grassroots level up to the university to give a cultural perspective tremendously to grow again in the offspring by unfolding the character inside us as an Indian. And let me try to make a relationship between our local values and the Indian traditional system as well as the textual knowledge which has been already given credits to the Western philosophers. For example, let me try to say something from the NEP 2020 that NEP 2020 once again gives a strong instructions to all of us that we need to shift The rote learning, from rote learning to experiential learning, then decision making, problem solving, and the skill orientations. Number 2 is the Indian knowledge system. Third is the ICT integration, and 4 is the multilingualism in the class. But some of the people who has been criticizing NEP 2020 from other sections of the society has strongly give a very wrong negation to the NEP 2020 that it is an attempt to eradicate the marginal society or section of the society that is smaller group and indigenous identity. But NEP 2020 strongly endorses to enrich and give the opportunity of using indigenous language, indigenous knowledge system as a part of the Indian knowledge system. So we need to clarify it from nook in the corner of the society that we must not be negated from the wrong institutions. So NEP 2020 or Indian knowledge system has its beautiful side when we try to connect it with the system we have had for the last many years. Let me try to give or share my personal experiences from the school educations slowly. For example, in the early childhood care education nowadays, so it is a platform occupied by many personalities from the medical profession. If I goes wrong, I think it may be certainly a mistake from my own personality perspectives, but the experience is from the textbook reference once again says that what? For example, when a mother conceives a baby in the womb, from the 3 months, that is from the first trimester, the fetus begins to develop its brain first. And then it begins to listen the worldly sounds and the feelings of the mother, and as such, once the fetus is developed or in the mother's womb, the mother should always think a very positive side, constructive way, to see or to look only the beautiful places, holy places, listening of the very good stories and the others. That's even a part of the culture in our state too. Because when the child is born from the mother's womb, if the mother is inflicted to many of other unwanted situations or information, the newly born children may develop that kind of the character. That is the process of the fetus development and the psychological process in the early childhood care education. But we feel it is a very scientific knowledge and we are tempted to learn it from the Western philosophy. But when we try to remember it from Mahabharata, there is a connection. Mahabharata itself is from the, for example, this is the Bhagavad Gita Jayanti was observed on the 11th December 2024 very recently, and scholars, many scholars of Bharat said that it is the 5161st anniversary of Bhagavad Gita. And in this more than 5100 years ago, there was a side story regarding the developmental process of the fetus and the story that will be linked to the newly born children in the world. For example, we have heard about the Prabhuvam, and another one is the story of the Mahabharata. That is another one is the Abhimanyu. And storytellers said that when the mother of the Abhimanyu, when the Abhimanyu was in the fetus, mother was having a very nap when the story of the tactics to the citadel in the battlefield by the chariots was listened and had a nap before the person or the warrior was walking out from the citadel. And when the Abhimanyu was born, he has no knowledge or could not understand exactly how to break the castle or the barricade of the enemy. So that is the philosophy. Already it was enshrined in that holy book, that is the 5,161 years ago, before the Western physiologists or the medical sciences discovered that the information system of the matters and the worldly pleasures will be linked one day. So that is my saying. It may be wrong or right. And another one is the theory of the epistemology. That is the theory of knowledge. The Western philosophy, which has been lingering to the Indian society for last many centuries, try to overshadow our philosophy structure that epistemology is the sole authority of the knowledge system. But when we are looking back to the Indian knowledge system, we have that epistemology itself is a little or a minor part of the system, that what we call the paramana, that is the true and reliable understanding of our world. That is among the paramana, we have the system of the perception, that is the pratyakshya, that is simply we call the knowledge. And another one is the inference. They are translating our system into their languages, and then now their information comes to us as their knowledge. So we need to try to abolish that kind of the oral information from our mindset. So verbal testimony, sabda, comparison, upaman, and the postulation, arthapati, and the non-apprehension, say anubhavati. So all this kind of information system has been already existed around us for the last many years. And in cases of the Indian mathematical origin, respected Sir Mahantaji already said that we are always depending on the Pythagoras theorem, then Archimedes principle, and different ways, and even we believe the theories of the algebra and the trigonometry were postulated by the Greek philosophers, but nevertheless it is totally wrong when we deeply come to the Indian knowledge system. Indian mathematics origin, for example, it has been already lingering about town planning system in the Indus Valley civilization, where flourished 2,500 year BC. That is 2,500 years ago, Jesus Christ were born. The theory of the town planning were already exactly used in Indus Valley. So how can we say that Pythagoras theorem or trigonometry were ahead of these in the knowledge system? But as a contamination to the knowledge system in India, we already have forgotten that the system of the knowledge were completely borrowed from the India by the West and coming back to the India, and we should try to align itself again that the master of the knowledge itself or origin of the word itself is from the Indian soil. In case of the mathematics, many decimal system and many zero system or the discovery of the zero were formulated by Aryabhata, Brahmagupta, and the Bhaskara too, that were exactly a very wonderful works, and the ideas were plundered by the British or by the invasion from the Muslim world. And science also, we have the Vedic value system, and many of the medicinal Ayurveda metallurgy were already existed in different parts of India, which has been already formulated, even though the Mendeleev's periodic table were formulated long centuries back. Now the question comes here. Then what shall we do to learn itself the Indian value system to this kind of school education system and a police system? It is a big question mark. As this is what I would like to address in this very August house is nothing but. Now, based on the world platform, NEP 2020 has a strong promise that India will definitely become a very powerful country and one of the largest economically strong nation by the year 2047. That is, it may have the capacity of $30 trillion economy by the year 2047. Because the population of youth is totally surpassing the population of Chinese youths even. Therefore, China has a threat to themselves that Indian population will definitely bigger opportunity of development in the years to come. But such kind of belief or imagination will not be materialized given the process of the mankind, man-making policy or process of education is not perfectly done. Therefore, Indian knowledge system strongly give us the opportunity to rediscover the hidden or the lost identity of we Indian again from the soil itself. That physics also, chemistry also, music also, fine arts also, carpentry also, tailoring also, Ayurveda also, architecture also, history also are all kalas. And among the 64 kalas, if a child is given the opportunity according to his capacity, he definitely will be an able person who will have the capacity to economy participation and a national building character. Therefore, such kind of a system were already enshrined, but we forget everything about our originality. And we are coming to the age totally depend on the Western philosophy. Therefore, it is now the high time to open our eye again that such kind of recommendations from different points of the world is not new, is not their own ideas, but we have a richer heritage and a knowledge system from which we can borrow and learn from many ideas. And another one, in case of the Indian knowledge system, unlike to the Western knowledge system, it is the composite of the two. One is the Vidya and another one is the Kala. But in case of the Western education, they are given education only inside a school that is based on the textual presentation, that is the factual knowledge, are only given to the students to by heart them, to give a rote learning, and will reproduce it in the textual examination, and will be checked by the examiner, and will be given mark, and the mark will determine the quality. And such kind of erroneous effects in the system of the examination based on the British education system, the expectations of our achievement is far behind in the reality, because the Kala is not enshrined in the school. Vidya is also part of the, they have taken it as a part of the rote learning only, and the intrinsic value of the Vidya is not provided to the school system by large of our in the state, in our state or in the entire state of India mostly. What Bhagavad Gita says, in the battlefield of the Mahabharata, Krishna said to the advice to the Arjuna, that is the Karma Yoga. You have the right to do or to act, but should not follow the result. That is nothing but dedication, commitment, sacrifice is already there to the holy mantra or the holy hymns in the Bhagavad Gita that gives a very tremendous ideas to the life and the process of to become a good citizen in these time of very turbulence and many things. One quotation from Albert Einstein, I forgot it exactly, but let me once remember it. After reading thoroughly the Bhagavad Gita, one of the greatest scientists of the 20th century, Albert Einstein, said, after reading Bhagavad Gita, I feel that evolution of universe is worthless. That means he has enlightenment from the Bhagavad Gita that how the world of the universe were created and the system is regenerated from the Bhagavan. So we have a very enriched idea, but the school system dropped them out, and we are totally dependent on the system of education from different principal laws and others. And very recently, if I am not mistaken, in the early childhood care education system that we are now having the experience of kindergarten, originated from the Florence model. Another one is from the Maria Montessori model. We believe they are the best model of teaching, but very recently, one simple school teacher and the clerk in the Gujarat called Vijubhai wrote a very eye-opening small novel called Divasapana. That is, the people can obtain it from the market. It costs only, I think, 80 rupees. Divasapana, they dream And that is the most wonderful books that will help how to deal with children in the schools to become a very good learner in their time beyond the playway method or the kindergarten method. But we have forgotten. He tries to interact with the different conceptual framework of the Indian knowledge system, practice, and our cultural heritage. And another one from my side, in Indian knowledge system, the roots of the Indian knowledge system exists because of the language it has, that is Sanskrit and Hindi. I'm not very much fluent in Hindi, and it is my weakness. And even though I learned something from different translation, that NEP again 2020 strongly endorses the use of the mother tongue, that they call it R1. Second one is R2, that is the common language, and another one is the R3, that is any kind of the language, Indian languages. So up to class 10, from the coming years, there will be of course 3 language system according to National Curriculum Framework for School Education derived from the NEP 2020. That in that cases, every children will have the right to learn in their early period of ideas from their own mother tongue. The second one from the kind of the common language, and another is the Indian language system. And every culture of the nation, every value system of the nation definitely exists in the language. And the richness of the Indian languages, for example, Sanskrit, Hindi, or other big languages, shape the original knowledge system, original figures, and original value system of India. If the language were not there, all the value system may not be what we are expecting today. And another one, as a teacher, let me have my opportunity. How should we try to implement Indian knowledge system in the school educations to become or to produce a good citizen? Good citizen in the sense, number one is nothing but what? The sense of nationalism. Today's children from different university or different institutions, even though they are getting high educational certificates, have certain no idea of nationalism. Even they are not thinking a pinch of idea about the nationalism. That is the threat to the national integration. So NEP 2020 strongly endorses to the policy maker once again, and we should also take part for the responsibility to make it happen in the years to come. For example, integration into curriculum about the Indian knowledge system. The whole textual information existed today up to many of the graduate levels are mixing about the importance of the knowledge system in the knowledge system. And the multidisciplinary approach, that is every person, myself is a man from the physics, but even I am a man from the physics, I need to learn how the society exists. Therefore, I need to learn from different perspectives of philosophy, from different science, from history, from geography. Therefore, to give this kind of opportunity, every school children or the college students should have the opportunity of getting multidisciplinary learning approach. Another one is the revitalization of traditional knowledge system. That is, we should not ignore how did India could exist with its head held high on top of the world, but why should not we be not able to do it once again in the midway of the 21st century? We should have our pride to become an Indian. Another one is the promotion of Indian language. That is already started from the ministry to develop their own languages to give its importance to different educational system. And another one is the thesis capacity building throughout the year. That is the old thesis teaching system, all ideas of the thesis who have already been appointed to different institutions to again revitalize their idea to make a connection between the changing knowledge platform and their own preoccupied mind. Therefore, such kind of the ideas should be made happen, and we should have our own energy, and we should invest our time and participate in a very holistic manner so that these Indian knowledge systems should be the backbone to become a very stronger India in the years to come. And it is a very recommendations from many think tanks from different parts of the world, not only India, that when the culture loses, the nation doesn't exist. When the language loses, its value loses. Therefore, we should again protect our language. We should always keep our cultures alive And instead of taking or baptized from the different cultural affinity, from the cultural invasions to our Indian soil, we must give the importance of the culture, the beauty of the cultures, and the man-making policy from our intrinsic value system to the early stages of the child up to the college level, so that we can protect from the cultural invasion. And the cultural invasion is nothing but an invasion to the nation in the by large in the local terms. Nowadays, many people, if I am not mistaken, every children are participating in birthday celebration in the Western mode, and even the way how we are dressing, the way how we're speaking are completely polarized from the imported Western philosophy. But on the other side, from the Western side, the American and the Europe are trying to get the importance and the beauty of the Indian philosophy, and what it may be what to the younger generation that one of the biggest Hollywood star, Keanu Reeves, that is in the Spain, the Macoman himself is a Paka Hindu. He definitely will come to India always in Holi and enjoy Holi in Mathura, and the people do not know, and the people believe that he is a Christian but he is a Paka Hindu.
Our colleague respected Minister Singhi, Dr. Maimam Professor Singhi, and esteemed organizer, ladies and gentlemen, सबको नमस्कार देना. We have heard about so many things from our speaker, Professor Ji, Govind Ji, regarding the Indian knowledge system. Sometimes we are comparing with European knowledge system or Indian knowledge system. There is no comparison between it. If we start with our astronomy, we have the calculation, the position of each planet under astronomy. We have developed the astrologers according to the movement of the different planets. And that part regarding the civilization part, there is need to redefine the what is the meaning of civilization. If civilization taken place, we can't heard about the First World War, Second World War, and Russia-Ukraine war, so many wars still there. This means we have to think what is the meaning of civilization. We have heard about the IQ, intelligence question. But some question is also missing. That is to be developed by our Indian philosopher, like our physical question, emotional question, intelligent question, vital question, and lastly spiritual question. So we have to add the spiritual question through our Indian knowledge system. First time we have introduced the clothes, our silk in European system. हम बोलते थे जब यूरोपियन इधर आए तो बोले कपड़े की खेती होती है. We never wear this cotton cloth, silk cloth. Initially, when we call as a golden bird, that time we exported our food grain and silk from the India and collect the gold from the European and some East Asian country. Regarding the education system, we have already heard about the Nalanda and Takshila. We never heard about the Oxford, Cambridge or Harvard. We have introduced the institutional mechanism for education in the country, in the world. We have the Gurukul Parampara. That is why we have the Mahavir, we have the Buddha, we have the Guru Nanak. That our education system they have done. All big spiritual guru from the Asia. That is our strength. Zero, as already our Guru told us about that. In Sanskrit, we call it a Navam, 9, Ashtam 8, Saptam 7, Sashtam 6, Pancham 5. Who has given this word? Our ancient people, they have developed the mathematics. 1 to 9 to 0, everything. When Ramanujan sent their 51 theorem to Oxford or Cambridge somewhere, he never believed that some 11 past people will develop the 51 theorem. Same thing, we develop the music, we develop the dance on our cultural basis, our traditional basis, what type of dance is prevalent in our society. Same thing with food system. At the time of delivery, which food is required? According to season, which food is to be eaten? For baby, which food is required? After delivery, which food is required? For adolescent girl, which food is required? For baby, which food is required? That is our system. So many products are developed. Now they are going for patenting different products. In agriculture, we have more than 5,000 practices. We have proved scientifically also for curing our animal disease or for fish managing food or management of crop or horticulture, even preservation method, even our storage of any food grade. We are using our traditional method, how to store our food, how to catch the fish, how to store the fish, in which form we have to store. When I visited some of the villages, normal villages, those who have only 7, 8 pass, he identified more than 500 trees. He knows the uses of the trees also. Which part of the plant, which of the part of the tree useful for what? Root is used, in bark is a leaf or fruits, whatever it is. That is our traditional system. Same thing regarding our cultural and our social fabric or creativity, designing of clothes for different subcaste or caste. We have a different design. Festivals depend on the weather also, food habit also. That is our traditional wisdom. Regarding the Manipur, shining example of this rich tradition, it is rightly called the jewel of the India. The cultures, customs and knowledge system of Manipur show a deep respect for nature, community life and spirituality. The ancient festival of Lai Haroba and the beautiful dance of Panchola. That is our tradition. Same thing with the martial art Thangta. The protection of scarce forest known as Umanglai. For every region, even sub-region also, we have different type of unique system exist but in the name of civilization, yeah, in the name of modernization, slowly everything is going on. So what is the role of our society? For collection, documentation, and sometimes we need scientifically validators. We have seen in the month of October, 108 items we have Goveli temple. We have seen first time. Every item has their own nutritional value. Sometimes cutting of the vegetable is also required. How to cut those vegetables so that vegetable become more nutritious. How to cook vegetable. You can't find in any country number of food items available. If we think about the even water quality also, we have first time discovered the pH of the water in the body. We can check that their pregnant lady liquid baby has grown up. The pH of that water and the pH of our sea water is the same. Why people behaving differently in full moon or Amavasya? Why people are behaving? Because our body is having the whatever water we are having, that affect the moon and sun also. That is why our sometimes behavior change during this full moon period. And sometimes we also saw that those who are in depression, they behave differently because of full moon. That science we have done. Still we don't have scientific background, but there is need. We cannot isolate with the science, but we have to prove scientifically. We have done it in our agriculture. Or 90% information exists in the system of scientifically validated. For major viral, fungal and bacterial diseases in our plants kingdom also. I think most of the thing has already been covered by our previous speaker. I deeply appreciate the hard work of VIDWAT, SHIKSHA, VIKASH Samiti and the VIDWAT PARJSHAD Manipur in spreading this awareness among the students and the public. Your work helped to build a strong and proud and confident society. Because I encourage all of us to learn from our ancestral value of our tradition and bring our Indian knowledge system into today's education and development efforts. Let us work together to protect and promote this precious heritage for ourselves and for the future generation. Thank you all. Thank you.
Respected invitees, Dr. Magam Post-Resourcing, convener, VIDWAT PARJSHAD. Today, we have a good opportunity to listen to such persons who are engaged in shaping the country to make a model nation in the world, a leading nation in the world. And I also would like to thank the respected audience listening carefully try to digest what we have been exchanging our ideas. Sri Govindji Mahanta, he has been working in this field with a great energy, with our Vidyabharati colleagues to make this NEP a success, and also it's time for the implementation, a very important time that still implementation of NEP is awaiting. So it is a good fortune for us to hear from him about how it comes and how it is to be implemented. And Sri Dinesh Kumar, who has been working in this field with the teachers and with our Vidyabharati also, giving our teachers training. And what has been done in the last few decades is the same system that has been developed by the Westerners, but now it is time to change. Changing is not a very easy task, because in our mind it has been very deeply rooted. So we have to make ourselves ready to agree to these changes. And Dr. Anupam Mishraji, who is a very good scientist, and he is a man who is working with our knowledge, Indian knowledge system in his field. And I have been looking his works since many years. He has developed many ideas, many projects, not only in Manipur, but in Jabalpur, in Madhya Pradesh, and his work is remarkable. To give the nutrition to the villagers, he started the Nutri Smart Village, and to the schools, Nutri Smart Schools. So it is a great privilege for us to hear from him. So I would like to thank the VIDWAT Parishad Manipur for organizing such a function to enhance our activities. With this, I would like to conclude, and I would like to thank you all.
Promoting educational development and fostering a culture of learning and growth in Manipur. As an integral part of the SHIKSHA Manipur, our objective is to empower individuals through education and community initiatives. We sincerely hope for your continued support in achieving these noble goals. Lastly, I extend my heartfelt appreciation to our organizing secretary, Sitaram Bhaji. Your exemplary dedication, coordination, and perseverance have been pivotal in making this ceremony a success. As we look forward to future endeavors, I express my gratitude on behalf of VIDWAT Parishad Manipur once again to all present here today. Together, let us continue to inspire, educate, and uplift our community and nation as a whole.
We eagerly look forward to your support and participation in our upcoming event as well. Thank you and Jai Hind.